It's getting late. Yeah, the sun is setting. Got me feeling great. Wonder where we're heading.
Hello, and welcome back to the Symphonina Foundation podcast. I'm your guest host, Alexander Unseth, one of the Symphonina Foundation ambassadors, as well as a frequent finalist in the Best Symphonina of the Year award competitions. And it is my tremendous pleasure to welcome to the podcast Roland LaBonté. He is a St. Louis-based songwriter, cellist, singer, and producer who came from classical beginnings and currently writes in an ambient pop style, combining calming vocals with an ethereal ambiance and highly approachable melodies and cello lines. Some of his songs, including Dancing Under the Moon, feature high-profile collaborators like Tony Franklin and Richard Fortus, and even feature Roland himself with the unique instrument of the cello. He is also a featured instrumentalist with the Symphonina Foundation albums, with credits on Ascension Symphonina Rising and the upcoming album releasing in summer 2026. So how are you doing, Roland? Thank you for coming on the podcast.
I'm good. Thank you for having me, and glad to see my website bio came to good use. No, I'm just kidding.
Of course, I have to use my resources.
Definitely did your research. I like it.
So want to start out, plug anything you want to plug, any upcoming song releases, any big projects in mind? What's going on?
Yeah, I have a couple singles in the finishing stages right now, so no defined release date, but that is always exciting to have some songs that are, ready to see the light. So we're getting there.
So what people don't see on the podcast is the studio that's behind you, which I have been in the studio. It is an incredible studio. There's a lot going on. I'm sure there's a lot of personal attachment to it as well. In terms of that personal attachment, like, what is your musical process like? Do you sort of just go into the studio and wait for ideas to come to you? Or is it just sort of, whatever happens in the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's always funny, like asking musicians that, because I think a lot of people just kind of like, yeah, like wait till something hits, wait till you have an idea. I'll have like, it happens all the time. It'll be like 2 in the morning and I can't fall asleep, and I'm like trying to, and I just have to reach over and grab my phone and hit the voice memos real quick, because
Voice
there's
memos,
something that I
yeah.
just like, we live in the voice memos. But yeah, I think a lot of times it's just like forcing yourself to just get started on anything, even if it's something that you're just a session you're never gonna open up again. Just like keeping yourself in the groove of it is always good. I'm also, as you know, a massive melody guy, big sucker for good melody, so that's usually the start of the process, right? Like just having a melody in your head that you can't get out of your head is always a much better start than, trying to fib around with production or anything like that right out of the gate. So,
No, I mean, it's such a good point. Like, I have tons of videos on my phone. It's just like a black screen, and as soon as I know it's a black
yeah.
screen, I know it's because I put my phone on a piano, and then it's like this 3 or 4 minute long video where I'm just trying to get ideas out. So I'm sure your voice memos app is probably full of great ideas. Do you ever kind of like just stumble upon them again? Like, you're just kind of going through the voice memos and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that's actually like a good idea.
I had a day a couple weeks ago where I was kind of down in the dumps about something. I don't know. Where us creatives are very emotional people, and so and so I was just scrolling through the voice memos and finding all these ideas, and I'm like, oh yeah, I really like that. It always ends up, well, I don't say always, 99% of the time ends up being something you really like, but still don't know what to do with. You can't like fully envision it yet. Piano demos and whatnot. So, just goes to show how many things we're like trying to churn out at once.
So you've got this collection of like great ideas, like you say, but let's say you've got sort of an okay idea. I mean, it's not something you might put like in a song, for example, but you think it's worth keeping, so you just kind of stuff it away. How do you approach kind of that sort of tension or conflict, like knowing that it's not a great idea? Is it something you try to act on right away, or do you kind of let it sort of marinate in your head or in your voice memos for a later time?
I think it depends. It's a lot of like, I mean, I definitely still have songs that I've written that are not fully fleshed out, that are still kind of like guilty pleasure songs, like
Hmm.
I know they'll never see the light of day and no one gets to listen to them other than me, whoever I'm like willing to send a Dropbox link to, which is, not many people. But I mean, I think from like a writing standpoint, I'm kind of weird in this is that I just move on. Like if I'm writing a song or working on an idea and I just am not feeling it, I just move on to the next one because I feel like I thrive so much on inspiration and passion for what I do. And so if there's at any point where I feel like I'm trying to force something that's not coming, it's not it's not right at that moment. But there are times though, like you mentioned Dancing Under the Moon in the intro. I wrote that song and I was a I just graduated high school, and so what was that, 2021? Yeah, 2021. And yeah, I mean, it didn't come out until 2024 because it took me that
Hmm.
long to like fully see the vision for the song. Like I always liked it. I always thought it, had a good hook and the lyrics were really good, but I just was not in the right place to see the vision through and produce it up and record it in the way that it ended up being. And I think I'm glad that I didn't try to force it because it ended up feeling so much better when it finally did come out, because even though it was a 3-year process, it felt kind of effortless once we really started going with it.
Well, so what changed? Like in the example of Dancing Under the Moon, how did you know that like the idea had gotten a lot better? Was it something that you actually could feel, or was it just you kind of went a little bit on autopilot? You were just kind of going through the motions. It just so happened that the idea was what you were looking for.
The thing with that, so I wrote that song with, his name's Jonathan Coor. He's a great musician and producer in his own right. And he ended up making the next demo for that, with just acoustic guitar. I got a Lindrum behind me too. That's a great piece of gear for the studio that we use a lot for our foundation of ideas. And so it's just acoustic guitar and some, little scat vocal, background vocal ideas and the Lindrum, and sent it over and immediately was like, okay, this is much more in the realm of what I'm used to, because it's a much poppier song than I think I was writing at the time, and it's also in a major key, and I was like strictly a minor key guy until like 2023. So yeah, I think, and then like you said, you kind of go on, I don't know about autopilot, but you kind of just live your life, and then you randomly have those days, like I said, where you just start scrolling through voice memos or Dropbox or whatever it is. And I also have to say for my dad that he was pushing really hard for that song because he always saw the vision in it. I don't know if I should say this. We did have a conversation at one point where he loved it so much where he's like, "Well, if you're not going to use it, then I would gladly take it off your hands," because he just liked it that
Wow.
much. And so, having other people in your corner who are that inspired by things that you write, even though you might not be, you kind of got to like put a bookmark in it, and come back to it with fresh ears. And yeah, so it was a very interesting song. I have not had another song that has followed that kind of process yet, but I'm assuming one will come eventually. And so now I know how to tackle it. So
It's such a good point too of like the people around you who could be a teacher, could be a parent,
yeah.
and it's harder, and I imagine you have felt this way as well, but it's harder when you're sort of in the midst of it. Like you're surrounded by your own art, you hear every single note, and you
Yeah.
want sometimes every single individual note of a passage to have its own personality. It's hard because you're really striving for perfection, right?
It's my life story right there, man.
But I mean, like it can
Every
sometimes make
single
you
note.
churn out like really, really good music. Sometimes it burns
Yeah.
you out a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like as a composer, sometimes I've gotten really burned out. And then I listen to the piece of the music at the end and I'm like, wow, like it was
Yeah.
worth all of the energy that I put into it and more.
Yeah, I mean it's always a very interesting process too, and again, going back to what I was saying about trying to force songs, like that's a ticket to burnout right there. It's just trying to force something that's you're not feeling, that's not working, instead of just acknowledging the elephant in the room, like, all right, I don't know if this song is gonna work. I don't really feel it. It doesn't really resonate with me. So
Do you find that you can get a sort of inspiration from things around you? Like I know lots of artists, they will use, like a breakup, maybe it's a story, historical events. What sort of gives you that kind of inspiration? And it could be you're actively looking for the inspiration, like you need that
yeah.
push, or you're just kind of like you're surrounded by it.
No, I mean, I've always kind of thought of inspiration like different buckets of, like activities that you like to do. I mean, it can even just be like mundane things. It can be anything. I mean, I'm a huge like baseball fan. That's a big thing, which is it's kind of weird. Like I feel like there's so many similarities between writing songs and baseball of like the whole saying, you hit the ball three times out of 10, you make it to the Hall of Fame. Like it's just it's a game of failure, and
Yep.
writing music is just it's just it takes so much just to get, you don't strike lightning in a bottle many times, right? And so it's just always gunning for that. And yeah, so learning how to deal with that, and not everything, every single piece, as piece of music is going to be your favorite. And so learning how to keep moving forward and until you get one that really inspires you. But I also think too, like other music, but maybe not in a way other people might guess, because I don't know about you. I'm very competitive when it comes to music. I get a lot of competitive drive out of it. So it's funny, like I'll hear a song that, totally blows my mind, and the first reaction is just like it's just pure awe, like looking around, like the grass is a little greener, the sun's a little bright, like the whole stick, man. But then the second reaction is like, oh, man, I gotta write something better than that. It's
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's a it's a very competitive thing, and some people might not think that's healthy, but I think a lot of us operate off of being inspired by other people and seeing what other people are doing. I mean, and not even to just to say it, like you're a big source of inspiration for me, and seeing what you're working
Thank
on.
you.
And I think inspiration, it can just literally come from anywhere you want it to. Even just literally mundane things, like you're going through the grocery store and you see a, a box of chocolate that like has a cool design or something. It can be as stupid as that. It can literally be anything. So,
No, and I mean like that is the beauty of it. Well, because it's like you are kind of making the music for yourself to begin with.
yeah.
Like even if you plan to release it, you are spending, and I mean, I'm talking days, weeks, months. I mean, in your case, like you said, for Dancing on the Moon, I mean, years. You're
Hmm.
spending years with one piece of music, and you do need that kind of inspiration to come through because it can be very easy to sort of put the project aside. I mean, I know even in my own output, to your point about competition, like it's hard when you first start because people they don't know who you are, they don't
Yeah.
really care about your music, and it's like right place, right time, right? Like a lot
Yeah.
of it is luck. You can be the best musician in the world, and if no one knows who you are, you're not the best musician in the world, type of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, I mean, I do think kind of what you started with too, like often the some of my favorite songs are it's just a pure like individual experience, write it down. And it's kind of interesting because I've had a lot of conversations with people, you too, about what resonates with people, whether it's, more universal experiences or more individualized experiences. But like recently, I've also been getting a lot of inspiration from the concept of nostalgia and
mhm.
time and living in the past, living in the present, living in the future. That's been something I've been obsessed with for a while. And so a lot of the songs that I'm working on right now are in that vein, not even on purpose. It just kind of ended that way. And like seeing all these songs together, it's been very interesting. Of like, there's kind of an unintended concept, to this project that I've got going here. So, yeah, I mean, again, it can literally come from anywhere, but I think the most important thing is just finding what that thing is and just holding on to it. So,
Well, I mean, like it also can come back to a brand, and I feel like that is 100% the case with you. I mentioned that you incorporate the cello into your songs, and it's not someone else playing the cello; it's you playing the cello. You really are kind of a Renaissance man, if I may quote it.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
but what draws you to incorporate strings in your music? I mean, it's not something unheard of, but it's certainly something unique, especially with you as sort of the main string player.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes from a couple different places. Like I grew up around, listening to a lot of pop and rock music, especially 80s, 90s, early 2000s music, where guitar solos were kind of the standard, you know. So guys like, Eric Johnson, Stuart Matthewman, Steve Lukather, like very, very good soloists. Like my soloing is totally inspired by those guys. So I've always kind of thought of my cello playing more like a guitar player or even like another singer on the song. But I think from the classical standpoint, like I also grew up playing in classical, so it was always like, the meme you might see of like, you're in orchestra rehearsal and then you leave and you put on your AirPods or you get in your car and you play 21 Savage or whatever, So it's just
So you're
all
saying
over
that
the
that was you?
place. That might have been me, playing a Savage Mode 2 in my car coming home from YL rehearsal. And no, I think I've just had such a love for music no matter what it was, and finding the parts of different genres that I liked. And I mean, that's all we really do, right? Is just like find the things in other songs that we like and we just take them and we just like use them ourselves, use them in our own distinct way. But yeah, from the classical angle, and we've talked about this, is that like I think some of the best melody composers came from the Romantic era. Like people like
Mhm.
Tchaikovsky, Rachmaninoff, who just write these, like some of these heart-wrenching melodies, like long phrase, just total earworm. Like you'll leave the symphony and you're walking to your car and people just like can't stop humming it when they're walking out. Like that's, as I said before, I'm just a huge sucker for melody. Like that's
Mhm.
what gets me every single time. And so, hey, pop music needs some more orchestral instrumentation, man. I'll keep saying it. I'll keep saying it into the void. I don't care if people don't hear it, but that's just how I feel about it. It's just I think it makes pop music feel so much more full and human and authentic. So I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Well, so you bring up this point about an orchestra and pop music, which it's certainly an upgrade from sort of like the string quartet that you hear in like Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles, for example. I mean, a classic
Yeah.
string in contemporary music. But why are you so passionate about an orchestra playing in sort of like a pop music format? Do you think that that's an attractive sort of medium for, say, like people in our generation, Gen Z?
Yeah, I mean, even for example, like here in St. Louis, the symphony's been doing a lot of movie screenings where they play film scores to popular movies, and it's always very interesting seeing the different crowds who go to, let's say like I'm going this weekend to go see Mahler 5 on
You're going to see
Saturday,
that.
and then Hilary Hahn is playing a new composition.
Dude, I
So,
heard that. I
yeah.
was interviewing David Kim, the
Okay.
assistant principal cellist, who
Yeah,
also
yeah,
my old
yeah.
teacher, and he said that the symphony was playing Mahler 5, and he just said it so casually, just like you did. And then it's like, oh
You know,
yeah, Hilary Hahn's coming too.
yeah. Yeah, and you lead with Mahler. No, I'm just kidding. You lead with Mahler 5.
Well, I mean,
No,
because it's
but
just like it's a crazy
no,
work.
it's like it's the magnum opus, man. So yeah, I couldn't really pass on that. I mean, how could you? But no, it is always it's such a different audience of people who go see those shows versus when I go to the movie nights, like I think the most recent one I went to was Black Panther or
Oh
maybe
wow.
Star Wars. I mean, they do so many and it's great. I mean, if you haven't been, I would totally recommend going. But yeah, I think, the audience skews a lot younger. It skews a lot more diverse. I think it's a good good avenue for people who haven't been as exposed to classical music to get into classical music. And that's why I think, like what you're saying, I think pop music is a great avenue for that. I mean, not even strictly pop, rock, jazz, expanding out their ears a little bit. And, maybe it doesn't resonate the first time through, but, they go home and they think, well, that was really interesting. I want to give it another chance, and they keep trying it. They start listening to classical playlists or whatever they do, and it grows on them. So I think more than anything, it's just an avenue to a different fan base. I mean, you could say the same thing about, the other way around. I think,
Sure.
like that, and that's one big thing that I'm trying to do is expose pop people to classical music and expose classical music to pop music, and that's why I think our collaborations are so interesting, is we both bring something totally different to the table, coming from the same orchestra growing up with totally different backgrounds and totally different sources of inspiration and working on the same piece of music. So it's always very fun, and I definitely think more people should give it a shot.
Yeah, because I will tell you, I was definitely not someone who was listening to 21 Savage with my
Yeah.
AirPods in the car. I mean, I was quite the nerd, but
So when you get off this call, you should listen to Without Warning by 21 Savage, Offset, and Metro Boomin. One
wait,
of my favorite
who are your top artists that you're listening to right now?
right now. Uh, Metro Boomin's always up there. I don't know. I mean, he's definitely an artist. He's not a vocalist. He's a producer, but he produces a lot of trap albums and a lot of trap songs that I grew up listening to and that I really love. I'm trying to think about others. If there's like any new artists that I've been listening to more, I might have to pull up my Spotify playlist and see what's been going on. I mean, a lot of Justin Bieber too.
Really?
I kind of went back through the Purpose album rabbit hole recently, and just remembering how good that album was when it came out, and now, I mean, what is it, 10 years later?
Oh, I mean,
It's
he is low key still good. Like I will say that.
he's amazing. No, I mean, and he just put out an album recently, and I mean, his last few albums have all been great. I mean, he's a great vocalist, a great artist, and talking about branding, they know the brand, man. I mean,
Ooh.
and they have like a defined avenue, and it's kind of interesting though, because every album's different, but it always
Mhm.
feels very like him at the same time, if that makes any sense. And I think that's what any artist could want. So yeah, I mean, those two, I
I actually
probably.
saw him. I saw him in concert. I was like
Oh
12,
really?
13. I mean, it was it was like peak era music. The two people who opened for him were Carly Rae Jepsen at the height of Call Me Maybe,
Okay.
and then Cody Simpson. I mean, it was and then Justin Bieber comes out in these huge wings, and I was just like, this is so peak.
See, that's a casual flex right there to see you say you got to see
Well,
all
I think I
three
was
of
the
them in
only
one
guy in the
concert.
audience.
Yeah, I remember I went to the was it which Taylor Swift album is that? 1989? Is that what it's called? The Polaroid one.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, a core memory right there, man. So some good concerts we went to
No,
that you just
seriously.
can't forget. So yeah, no, I mean he's great. He's definitely an artist that I look up to, especially vocally too. I mean, he's just I would argue with anyone, one of the most talented vocalists of our time. So
I just really want to thank you again for coming on the podcast, Roland. This has been awesome. It's also just a very full circle moment in my eyes. We played cello together in the St. Louis Symphony Youth Orchestra section about 8 or 9 years ago now. And since then, we've collaborated on each other's works. He's played on my symphoninas. I've composed some string parts for his songs. That collaboration, I really hope will continue because I think Roland is an incredible musician. So again, just want to thank you for coming on the podcast, Roland, and to all of the listeners out there. There are more Symphonina podcasts coming out. You can visit the Symphonina Foundation website at www.symphonina.org for not just more podcasts, but more information.
including some information about our upcoming album that Roland will be playing on. So until then, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.